I work for the St. Johns County Public Library System. Thank you so much for joining me for another edition of Kids Art Lab. The artist that I have chosen to discuss with you today works with some materials that are totally different from any other artist that we have explored so far in Kids Art Lab. I wonder what she could use. Do you have any ideas? If so, please leave them in the comments below. So we're talking not traditional paint, pencil, clay, nothing like that. Something completely different. Her name is Monir Shahroudy Farmanfarmaian. And here we go. Okay, she was born in 1922 and she passed away last year in 2019. And behind her in this photo, you can see a few of her pieces. Can you tell what those pieces are made out of? I'll give you just a moment to guess. They look pretty amazing, right? Go ahead and put your comments down below of your guesses of what those things are made out of, what those sculptures are made from. Can't wait to see what your guesses are. All right, a little about Monir. She was born December 16th, 1922, and she was the youngest of her whole family. She lived in Iran, and she moved to the United States, specifically New York City in 1945 to pursue a fashion degree. When she was there in New York City, she met a lot of fellow artists, including Andy Warhol. They were both window dressers for a department store. What? She ended up gifting him one of the items that you see in the photo to the right there, those spheres, those big circles. She returned to Iran in 1957 to get married and then ended up leaving again in 1978 because of the Iranian Revolution. And then she was not able to go back to her home until 2004. That's a really long time to be away from home. She went back there in 2004 and remained in Tehran, Iran, until her death in 2019. So I wanted to share this quote that I found from her. She said, "For me, inspiration always comes from Iran, from my history, from my childhood, for better or for worse. I always go with the feeling of my eyes and with my heart." I really, really liked that quote. I feel like it says a lot about her as an artist. And it helps me when I'm thinking about art that I want to create, thinking about going with what my eyes see and what my heart feels. Okay. This is the photo that I was most excited to show you. This is the Monir Museum. Yes, there's a whole museum in Tehran that it has only her art on display. And if you didn't guess it before now, her artwork is covered in mirrors, glass and mirrors that are meant to reflect the light. So that's what all of that light is on the floor, on the ceiling, on the walls, everywhere in this photo. All of it is reflecting off of the different pieces that are on display. Oh, I think it would just be magical to go to this museum and walk through, don't you? As you can tell, her pieces are pretty large here, and they're very 3D. They jump off the wall, they jump off of the displays. Oh my goodness. Okay, we'll talk a little bit more about this one. Do you remember this one from the first photo? This was her geometric cube statue that she created in 2008. She made one cube, but created it with many, 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 many squares within it. You can see as you're looking inside each different side of the cube, it goes further and further and further inside with lots more squares. And because they're mirrors, it's repeated and reflected infinitely Infinitely, that means there's no real end. So, and also the viewer, so that's you or me or whoever is looking at this piece in person, becomes a part of it. Now, why is that? How would I become a part of this sculpture if I were looking at it? Well, because I would be reflected in the mirror. So you would see your reflection on and on and on and on, and it changes the color of the sculpture in the mirror. Neat, huh? So Monir dreamt up and designed all of these pieces, but had craftspeople in Iran build them for her. So sometimes it takes many, many people to create one piece of artwork. Okay, the other piece we're going to look at today, this is from the first family, a triangle. And if we're looking a little bit more closely at this triangle, there are lots of other triangles within it, right? She made this in 2010 and repeated that use of geometric shapes. And if you look a little bit closer even, you can see some shapes that are not just triangles in there too. There are lots of stripes, everything repeated and joined together in a geometric fashion to create the larger artwork. So the triangle is an important symbol in Islamic culture, and it kind of means knowledge and consciousness. So it puts together like knowledge and the person who has that knowledge all together. Monir's artwork was often grouped into different families. So first family, second family, third family, and just like our family, for example, all of the pieces kind of go together. They look a little bit similar, but each one is different. They might be a triangle, a square, a hexagon, so all different geometric shapes, but the same kind of design. Does that make sense? So she made these mini collections that she called families out of these geometric shapes. Just thought that was an interesting way to organize her artwork. Okay, and this is a piece that was in progress. Monir was a lot younger here, but you can see some of what her artwork is made out of underneath. There's wood and plaster that's put together, and then she lays these tiny little pieces of mirrors all together over that to create those amazing, intricate designs that reflect all of that light. Wow, I could stare at this all day. It's just so cool how the forms come together to create that. Okay, if you'd like to read more about Monir or many of the other artists that I've talked about in Kids Art Lab, and some other amazing women who are not artists, but they are little dreamers and visionary women around the world, you can check out this book from our library. It's written by Vashti Harrison, and I highly, highly recommend you check it out. It's really, really cool. Okay, it is time to make some art. So stay right there. I'll be right back with our project for today.